Welcome back to our channel, horse enthusiasts. Today we're going to go over saddle parts and how to saddle a horse. And I do have a trusty assistant with me, my unprofessional cowboy, Tylen Sincere. So he'll be helping me out saddling his horse and getting ready for a ride. Come and enjoy the adventure. First up, we have the saddle pad, and my trusty assistant is trying to get it over here. Thank you, sir. Saddle pad is to help keep the horse comfortable when riding under saddle. It protects the spine, the withers, and the rib cage. Help me put it on her. Throw it up there. Make sure it's centered and it's covering the withers. Next, we're going to grab our saddle. We're going to use a smaller saddle because it's for my son, and I'm just going to swing it up there, but you want to make sure that none of your saddle parts get caught up underneath the saddle. Make sure the saddle is on there flush. You going to help me throw it up there? 1, 2, 3. Good job.
Okay. And on it?
Not yet. When saddling your horse, you definitely want to make sure that there's nothing underneath the saddle causing a pinch. So his little extra strings and straps, we're just going to pull those out and make sure they're out of the way. One important thing about saddling is making sure the horse is comfortable. Like I said, we're going to actually pull the saddle pad up into the pommel a little bit to give a little bit more comfort and relief. The horn is attached to the pommel, and the pommel does two things. It helps keep a person in the saddle locked in, as well as give a little relief right here above the withers. This is the seat. Of course, it's where your butt goes. We all know that. And the back part here is called the cantle. It also helps keep a person locked into the saddle. Coming off your seat is your fenders. Now, your fenders is what hold your stirrups, and your stirrups is what hold your feet. Helps keep you balanced when you're in the saddle. And we want to make sure that they're even on both sides, which I've already adjusted for my son. They are a little long for him, but they are on the tightest little hole here, and he actually has buddy straps sometimes he uses, but he's almost tall enough for the regular stirrups. So this is the girth I was talking about. It actually goes underneath your horse. It buckles the saddle onto your horse, so it stays put and doesn't get away from you. So I'm actually just going to toss it over really quickly, and then we're going to buckle it. So now we are going to cinch a horse. The front cinch is a combination of your latigo and your girth. Your girth cinch is what comes across and locks the saddle on your horse. So we're just going to reach down and grab it. This is a smaller horse, smaller saddle, so we're not going to get 3 loops on this horse here. But we're going to start with our first loop here. Okay, make it snug, but not too tight. Then we're going to put it through the D-ring again. Yes, sir.
That one there by Barry.
And I'm actually going to go to my second hole because I have 2 on this one. I let my son have my competition girth, so I'm going to get it nice and snug, not tight. Horses tend to bow out, and she's older and she knows the tricks of the trade, and she bows her stomach out to make her more comfortable. So we will wait for her stomach to relax. It's more comfortable when saddling a horse if you do it in multiple stages so that they don't get uncomfortable. After she's settled for a second, we're going to go ahead and give it another snug. Let's go ahead and cinch one last time and buckle it. We also make sure that the buckle is nice and tight by giving a little pull here. We're going to take our extra latigo and just put it in the latigo keeper right here on the saddle. Hey horse friends, we want to let you know that we've partnered with some great brands that want our viewers to save on their horse care. Whether you're looking for your everyday tack or even grooming products, our partners have you covered. Click on the links below to save now. And if you like our content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. So now that we've learned how to saddle a horse, let's talk about bridles. Now, this particular horse is older. She uses a hackamore, and that is just a bridle without a bit. Although my horse, my son's horse, uses a hack, which is a bitless bridle. I'm going to show you a few other pieces that I own just for various reasons, and just so you can get an idea that there is multiple types of bits and head stalls as well for each horse. You need to find the one that works best for your horse and your activity levels. Since she's a senior horse, has a little bit of dental issues, and is really well trained, she just doesn't require a bit at this point. One of the most common pieces that a lot of people have is called a twisted dog bone port bit. Now, here you have your actual bit is this portion that goes in their mouth. There's some little twists here. You have your dog bone that separate each side to give a little relief going left and right. You have your long shank here for directional pressure, and you have your curb chain attached. It's not the bit, but it's attached to the bit to help them stop. And it actually puts pressure right under their chin. When you pull back, it helps them stop. This is all attached to the head stall piece. This actually holds the bit in the horse's mouth. This is your head stall piece. And this one actually just goes over the pole and has one simple ear loop to keep it in place. Now, not all of them are the same, and this one is very unique, so I wanted to show you this one. I also have another piece that I use for training on my competition horse. I just kind of wanted to give a little bit more pressure to my horse. This one actually has a rawhide pole band, and it gives a lot of pressure on the top of their head, but it also gives relief because it is a sliding gag. So it has a sliding piece. My reins attached to these loops here, and the bit actually can slide and give relief there. This one actually has a port as well, but it's a circle port. Same thing, it gives relief on the left and the right side of the bit when riding. And this is actually sweet copper. It's very forgiving for the horses. They can play with it. They love it. Next up is more of a ranching type bit. Actually, very commonly it's called a correction bit. It does have a port in the middle, but it's more of a little arch here. It does give relief left to the right, but it's very heavy, very strong. So it actually provides more pressure in the mouth to really get the horse to pay attention to what you're asking them to do. Also, curb chain to help them stop. This one has really long shanks for directional pressure. And here are the reins, of course, attached to it. These happen to be leather reins. They're not split reins. It's a single rein here. I do have split reins in the tack room there, but we're not going to go over that today. I actually want to go over the one I'm going to be using on her. Like I said, it is a hackamore. It is a bitless piece, but it does provide a lot of pressure. So this one's a lot different than the other ones I showed you. These reins are not leather. They are synthetic braided type rope reins, and they're really great, you know, for any type of use, whether you're trail riding, pleasure riding, competition riding. It is your preference whether you use leather or nylon rope. So on my son's bridle here, he has a lot more detail than the other ones. So this is his hackamore, and like I said, it still provides a lot of pressure. The hackamore actually has a nose band that goes over the nose for pressure. It does have shanks here with a little extra pressure because they're kind of curved up here. We have our curb chain to help us stop, and then we just have a little bit hobble to keep them more in line and more in place. And then, of course, your reins are attached. Now, on his head stall, he has the pole band. He also has a brow band, and he also has a throat latch. This helps keep it tied on as well. So I just wanted to go over a few different variations. There are so many more head stalls. There are so many more bits to choose from. These are some of the ones that I use. I have plenty more still in my tack room here, but depending on the horse, depending on the activity, I will change up the type of equipment that I'll be using. Since she's an older horse, she doesn't really need a lot of pressure like those other bits, and that's why we use a hackamore. And of course, it's a kid. He's not as skill set in his hands, so this helps give a little relief, a little softness to directions when we're trying to tell the horse which way to go, not having a bit in their mouth. She's very well trained. She'll listen to a hack just as if she had a bit in her mouth. So when we go to start to put this on her, we are going to loosen her halter, but we're not going to take it off all the way. So I'm going to take her halter and I'm just going to loosen it a little and slide the nose band off and tie the halter around her neck. Now, she's a very good horse. She's patient with me, but if you had a younger horse or more immature horse, you're going to want to do this very fast. Okay, so now I'm going to take the reins and actually slide them over her head, okay, to get them out the way. Then I'm going to take the bridle and I'm going to put her nose inside the nose band. She's very smart, putting her head down. I'm going to put the poll band over her poll. Make sure her hair is not caught up in the brow band. She does not have a bridle path cut, so it just sits on her hair. I'm going to make sure that it fits her face. And this one actually, it looks a little big, so we're going to need to adjust it to her face. So I'm going to take it and just put it on the tightest little hole here and get it nice and snug. Make sure the other side matches as well. Move that up one more hole. Get it nice and snug. There, that looks a lot better and more fitting on my horse here. Sorry, girl. So now I'm going to make sure that the throat latch is buckled here just to keep it on. I don't think it's going anywhere, but get her buckled and then we can put it in the little keeper. Now, typically when bridling a horse and using a curb chain, I would say you want at least 2 fingers in between the chain and the horse's bottom jaw. Now, some horses may require a lot more pressure to get them to stop, especially if they're in training, and you might even tighten it down to 1 finger, but I would be very careful in doing that, making sure you're well trained with the horse and understand how to use your hands properly. If not, if you're just beginning and just starting, make sure you have 2 fingers. When you go to pull back on this, it will put pressure on her jaw and it will hurt if it is too tight and you pull back too hard. So make sure your horse is comfortable and happy. Now that we're done saddling our horse, it's time to ride. So let's go get our cowboy and jump on this pony. Now that we've saddled our horse, bridled it, and learned all the parts, we're ready for our fantastic ride. Say bye, Tylen. If you like this content, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to support the unprofessional cowboy, Tylen Sincere, by clicking on the viewer links below for your extra discounts. You ready to go? High five.